forget how horses don't doubt.
Hi, my name is HannahrFletcher. I was just interviewed by the Keith Andrew himself. He's doing a wonderful job, and you guys don't want to miss this interview. We talk about if I was a party animal in college, which I wasn't. We talk about COVID. We talk about what we have in common. You guys got to check it out. So stick around and stay tuned.
It's just a room full of noises. You don't have to run away.
To the KeithAndrewNetWork. It is episode 764. That's right, 764. I'm here with the beautiful and talented HannahrFletcher. I just want to say thank you for being a guest on my talk show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm stoked to be here. Thank you for the opportunity.
No, the honor is all mine. For people who want to know what my talk show is about, whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities to never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be. Just prove to them it can still amount to something. So hashtag break the labels. That being said, 27 minutes of your time, freedom of speech, self-expression. It's PG-13, but with that being said, it is uncensored, so you have the right to say whatever you want. And the first question I want to ask you is tell our audience a little bit about your background and how you came to do what you do now.
So my name is HannahrFletcher. I am 23 years old currently. I currently live in Los Angeles. I went to school for acting. I got my degree. I got my BFA in acting. And then I made the move to Los Angeles. I'm initially from the East Coast. And then I've been living out here for about a year now. And I just started getting everything in motion. And then obviously COVID happened. And then I kind of had to put a pause on life and put a pause on things and kind of think to myself, what is it that I'm truly passionate about? What is it that I can do to create connections for myself as an artist and for the community that I've found to be in out here so far? And I decided that I wanted to start a podcast. It was a passion that I had a long time ago. Back in high school, I used to DJ in my room. And then I decided that that was something that I wanted to take further. And I got some wonderful colleagues and people from college to collaborate with me to make some artwork, to help me and mentor me in how to produce the content. And luckily, I just wrapped up my first season of my passion project of my podcast. So that's currently what I'm doing right now. And we are on hold for the holiday season. And then I'm going to pick that up for season 2 in January.
Well, two things. One, we have that in common. You know, when I was in high school and in my sophomore year, I had an opportunity to join the audiovisual department, and they had a radio station. It was the Keith Andrew Power Hour. If we were doing the show, it'd be the Keith and Hannah show. It was everything. I was running around with the camera to the point like, oh, it's so cute. He was running around with the camera. Oh my God, he has the camera again. He's remember it's the camera. Go shove it up your ass. It really got to the point where like, it's fine. He's having fun with the camera. Like, yeah, you know, if it comes near us, that camera, it won't end well. I'm not talking about the camera. But yeah, that's when I just trying to make you laugh. But, you know, it's trying to like, that's my hobby. And he mentioned the big difference, that's saying, between me and you is you mentioned you took a break for the holidays. For me, I'm like Vince McMahon. I'm like a workaholic. So I'm constantly 365 days working my ass off, you know. For me, I take a break when I'm dead.
Right.
But for me, I'm just very passionate about what I'm doing.
I love that. I love that for you. That's wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I do want to promote is if you're interested, maybe we could cross promote and collaborate. I would love to be a guest on your show if that's something you'd be interested in.
Absolutely. One of the things that I'm actually looking forward to in season 2 is collaborating with people online, because I was lucky enough to get a couple of my friends to come on my podcast, but they were also people that I was specifically quarantined to. And honestly, the biggest holdup for the reason why I haven't had people online for interviews yet is because of storage on my computer. So I'm hopefully going to go home and get a couple new pieces of equipment so that will allow for me to be able to, do these Zoom interviews and do the recording and everything like that. I would love to have you on my show. This is my formal invite to you. Please come on.
Oh, absolutely. And the next question I want to ask you is, when you started doing your show, I know you answered, but I just want to go over it one more time. Mm-hmm. When did you start it? What software do you use? Like, for an example, for me, don't ask me why, I did everything ass backwards. I started in 2013, and I did all phone interviews and I was like, oh, it's great. But personally, I hate talking on the phone because it feels like I'm talking to myself.
Right.
And I did 72 of those. And I was like, this is ridiculous. I'm still having panic attacks. I'm in a room by myself. Did the show over. One thing I will say to you, it's write up permission forms. A lot of people say, yeah, that's good. A lot of people say, I don't do permission forms. But it's always good to have it in writing. Long story about that. But, when I started, I didn't want to be seen. So when you look at my phone, how you see your reaction, well, you see me, obviously. I didn't want to be seen. Someone came across my brother and said, we came across your brother's show. Pretty interesting. Why is he in a small box? And I said, I don't want to be seen. The show's not about me. It's about the guests. And I'm like, well, you can't have it like that. If you want to be famous, you want to put yourself out there, you need to make yourself vulnerable. You need to be seen. So I started from recording from the phone to Skype recorder. I used Ecamm, or it would be cut in half. Unfortunately, I updated my Mac. Are you a Mac or Windows person?
Mac. I've had to be on a Mac for college, and then I've just been on a Mac ever since.
No, we did the same thing. We have that in common. I recently updated, and unfortunately, the Ecamm is no longer compatible. So I'm like, all right, don't need Skype anymore. And you can see the process from my season 1, from recording from the phone up to now, having an actual background. Don't have to decorate my brother's bed anymore with stuff. So you see a big process. But the one I want to ask you is, what was the very first software that you use? Are you still using it, or have you evolved over the years?
So I am honestly most comfortable with iMovie, and I know that sounds so but that's honestly what I grew up using, because I grew up always trying to make videos with my friends, and I would always use my iPad, my iPhone. It was always some kind of Apple device. And then honestly, I've just noticed that iMovie is very useful for me. And it's something that I'm familiar with. I have tried to step out of the box. I've tried to, I downloaded, I believe, Final Cut Pro. I did the free trial of it. And it's not that I didn't like it. It's just that I don't think I had the patience to sit down and get to learn it. And I don't think I had the time on my hands to be able to allow myself to do that. Maybe if I go home and sit down and try again, I'll be able to kind of decompress and be like, okay, let me play. I've never had time to play with it. I've always been I'm on a deadline for something. So iMovie by default is just what I'm more comfortable with. One thing that's been really cool is I've been using my co-host Brady, who comes on a lot. He's my best friend from college. We've been friends for half a decade now. And he's been doing a lot of the editing, especially the 2 people shows, which takes a load off my neck. And I'm so grateful that he does that. And I tell him that all the time. But and I think he does use Final Cut though. But for me personally, I'm an iMovie girl all the way, and I cannot wait to eventually learn and expand. I'm very excited for that at one point in my life. So.
It's you're not kissing your butt or anything, but it's really funny how much we haven't. I didn't realize how much we had in common. I used iMovie. Now I'm dating myself. I'm only 32. So we don't have a 10-year difference between you and me, but you look good. I have a fat neck.
Not at all. You're fine.
But for me, I started to use iMovie, I think, 2000, maybe 2001. And I love iMovie. I came a long way. Back in the day, I'm dating myself again, you had something called Slick Transitions, where you would download on a CD, and you know how you look at the TV and you had like the little thing going across the screen, and you had like different pictures. Unfortunately, iMovie doesn't support them anymore because they were a third party. But it's amazing how far iMovie says came from 2000, and maybe 99. I keep writing to them. I love iMovie. I need it. Never change. Tiny little thing. Please listen more filters. Please with more updates.
Yes. Yes, I agree. I know. I think they actually just did some kind of update recently, and they increased the filters a little bit, and they changed the text around. They added a couple new things to the text. I'm not gonna lie, I got so excited. I tried it out. I was like, I gotta get my hands in this. I was like, yes, iMovie, keep up with me, please, like, so I don't have to leave you. I love it.
I felt the same way yesterday when I was looking at Skype, and I'm like, all right, update. What did he add? Oh, you finally did backgrounds. That's great.
Did Skype finally do like what Zoom's doing now?
Yeah.
Oh.
Only it would be really perfect only if you were able to record. Yes, I talk with my hands. It would be great only if you could record a conversation. Unfortunately, it was Ecamm. That was money well spent, but that was like 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. So with Ecamm, it's pretty much a third party, and you can record it, and you can record FaceTime calls too. So they have a lot of great things, but because it wasn't compatible anymore, it's like, don't need it. I have Zoom. And thank God for the free version, because I wasn't going to pay for it.
I know. Thank God. Zoom's been all I've used this year, completely, just totally a Zoom girl now.
Absolutely. Now we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, I'm going to ask you 2 questions about college, and I'm going to ask you some more questions and pass it over to you.
I'm Jenny Fine.
Hi, it's Mimi Chen.
Hi, my name is Ellen George.
Miss Shauna Todd.
Hey guys, I'm Anastasia Edwards.
Hi, this is Jackie Nunez.
Hi, I'm Amelia Rose.
Hi guys, I'm Alexandria Denise, and you're watching Keith Andrews Show. He's doing a terrific job. Make sure you like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more awesomeness.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Keith Andrews Network. We're back from a commercial break. Now, the last easy 2 questions I want to ask you is, when you were in college, were you a study nerd or party animal? And were you ever in a fraternity?
All right. So I was not in a fraternity. I actually went to a very small arts college. So we had no Greek life whatsoever. As far as study nerd versus party animal, I was a very, very conscientious student. I was super focused on why I was there, and I made sure that my work was always done. I went to school for acting, so I always knew my lines. I always knew my blocking. I would go above and beyond and be studying until 10, 11 o'clock at night, rehearsing, whatever it took. But I will be honest, I did have my fair share of fun in college. I wouldn't label myself a partier by any means, but I was more or less just social. Like, I would always go out to lunch with my friends. It was always like, I'd get out of class at 2:30. I'd text my friend. I'd say, you want to go on a walk? You want to go get coffee? You want to go get a salad? Like, we would just have fun. So I wouldn't say I was necessarily a partier. I was definitely a little socialite, though. I will say that for sure.
I can see it. You're like very bubbly. I wish I met you back in high school, because I didn't have any friends back then.
Oh, you know what? High school definitely wasn't my favorite period of time in my life. I was definitely more of I think I really enjoyed myself a lot more in college, because I was surrounded by so many like-minded people, truly, so.
That's true. What was the line from back, from Blazing Saddles? I'm trying to keep it PG, but I want to say one time, I never seen so many backwards ass fucks in one place. But it's sad, but it's true. And the reason I say that in my show, my roles, but it's PG-13. Anyway, one F word, it's fine per episode. But I usually try to have fun with everyone, but no filter. Anyway, I was in ShopRite with my dad, and my sister goes to ShopRite with my dad. They're the only ones wearing masks. They're the only people, on the floor that says walk up this way, one way only. But there's so many people without a mask on it. It's like, not to talk about politics or anything, but it's not that difficult to wear a freaking mask.
I know.
It's like, this woman, she makes these funny videos on Instagram. It's the Asian girl, a cute Asian girl, but I can't think of her name, but she did something like, she's always the stewardess. If I know, I would send it to you. But one of the things, she was on an airplane. She's like, ma'am, you have to wear a face mask. Oh, I don't have to wear a face mask. I got knee surgery. Okay, ma'am. It's like, ma'am, where's your knee? What? No, I just want to know, do you know where your knee is? Oh, good. I didn't know. I didn't think you knew what a knee was. But your face still needs a mask.
Gosh. I will never understand why people, it's not difficult. I will say that. And I personally take it, I just want to protect other people. I care so much about other people. And if that is one common citizen moral deed that I can do in order to protect other people, then honey, you've got it. I don't understand why people just can't, I feel like we're getting there. We've weathered the storm here. We lost the year. It stinks, but I think that if that's the only thing that you have to do in order to protect the ones that you love, especially, then do it.
No,
I don't understand how it's so back and forth. I know for LA out here, it is wild. It is terrible out here right now. It's very, very sad. And even like walking outside and everything, they've put a mandate on you need to wear a mask outside too, because there were people that weren't for a while. And then now even I live not too far from the Grove. So I'll go over there every once in a while. And there's people that are just always in masks, which is good. I mean, we're so close. We're so close. I think anyway, I hope, I pray.
No, I agree with you. Pfizer is supposed to make an announcement later on today. There's 2 more vaccines. Hey, the more vaccines, the better. We can get this crap over with. And, you want life to go back to normal. Shut up. Do what you're supposed to, not saying it to you. They're saying, shut up. Do what you're supposed to do. Stop bitching and moaning. And just follow the rules. And once things go back to normal, what my brother says about me sometimes, open the door and want to run out wild and free. Just run wild and free. Do whatever you want. But for right now, this is what we need to do. And unfortunately, you can't fix stupid, even though you can numb it with a 2x4. It's just one of those things. It's just ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. But I will pass the show over to you. The last thing I want to ask you is, besides me, obviously, have you worked with people with disabilities, and are you willing to work with people with disabilities? Passing the show over to you.
Absolutely. I would love to work with people with disabilities. I have never actually really had the honor of being able to get my hands directly involved with people with disabilities. And honestly, that is something that I've really just always wanted to do. I remember even in high school, we had a program called Best Buddies. And that was something that really piqued my interest. And I was a drama kid. And so I don't think I was able to do both at the same time. And if I was able to, I 100% would have. I've always had a special spot in my heart for people with disabilities. And honestly, like getting older, and even this year, I've been really, really involved in trying to give back and donate, even though it may only be a couple bucks right now. Like I'm praying and hoping and wishing that I can donate further and further and donate my time. And that is really something that I would just love to be able to, as I grow older, be able to get more invested in. Like I would love to spend a whole Saturday with hanging out with a buddy, like with somebody with a disability, and being able to be with someone and make their life better and treat them and take them out on little outings to the park and everything like that. Like I would love to be able to give back in any way possible, especially with people with disabilities, and just hang out with them. I would love that so much.
No,
So, yes,
absolutely. Hey, sign me up, right?
Yeah.
It's funny you should mention Best Buddies. My school had something called Big Brothers to Little Brother.
Okay.
Big Sister, Little Sister. So it's pretty much the seniors and the juniors will look after the freshmen and the sophomore, and I kind of like mentor them. Personally, I would rather have a big sister. I'm not saying that to be a sexist or anything. I'm not. I feel like I can open up to women more, the girls more, than guys. You know, oh, guys are big and muscle. You don't talk about sensitive things. But yet, you know what I mean? You know, it's kind of like,
Well, the maternal nature too. I feel like a lot of, I mean, not, you know, not all guys are going to be like, oh, and not all girls are going to be like, oh, come here. But a lot of the time you're going to have, I feel like a lot more girls just possess a maternal nature for sure. You know?
Absolutely. And well, with that being said, you know, I'm not an ass or anything, even though a lot of people think about. But, you know, for people who watch this whole, actually did look after me in high school in the Big Brothers Club, I say thank you. It's always nice to have people look over you. Pretty much for high school, my brother, I'm the youngest out of 4 brothers and 1 sister. So my brother's friends who did not graduate with my other brother were there when I was. So I felt like, okay, they won't mess with me because now they know they're friends with my brother, so they're going to befriend me. And I always felt like I always had people look after me, and there's always support there. But, you know, I'm not like an influence. I'm not acting someone to hold my hand. Even about what I want, it's to know someone's in my corner. Like if you're in my corner, say, hey, Keith, you need something, you want someone to talk to you, I'm there. In return, if I'm here, if you want to talk to me, I just want to know you have somebody to fall back on. Because at the end of the day, it's always nice to feel like you have somebody there. You're not alone. You guys, you know, the suicide rate will probably be through the freaking roof. But, you know, it's nice. Well, passing that over to you. Was there anything you want to talk about? Anything you want to promote? Was the last 5 minutes and counting?
All right. So actually, I want to ask you a question, if that's okay.
Sure.
I want to know about you in terms of getting your start with this show and what's your biggest dream in terms of this show? Where would you love to see this take off to? Do you want to pitch it to producers? Like, do you want your own network, like on TV? Like, where would you like to take this show to?
Yeah, I always thought about this. I'm going to say to you, to be honest, I mentioned this a couple of times. It all started with a birthday wish. And, you know, for the longest time, I was using my disability as a crutch. You know, I'm on the spectrum of being retarded. I read and learn at a 5th grade level. I constantly break things down so I can actually absorb it like a sponge. Mm-hmm. For the longest time, I call it the boomerang. You throw it. I don't have to do this. I don't have to do that. But people will feel sorry for me. But at the same time, when the boomerang comes back and you got whacked upside the head, you realize you just labeled yourself as an influence because you don't have to do this, don't have to do that. Make a long story short. So I said, and my mom said, when you turn 21, it's the most special birthday you got to have because you live only once. Unless you believe in reincarnation, you know, come back as a bird or something. But it's the most special birthday. So I'm like, okay, I don't drink, you know, I drink socially. I'm not an alcoholic, but I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs. If I have to die, I would like to have a couple of famous friends. And you know, of course, I reached out to a couple of people and like, yeah, I was told off, F off and all that. Yeah, we can talk about it later on. Don't want to complain. And I was like, okay, how can I get my birthday wish, but actually turn my disability into a strength instead of a weakness? So long story short, my brother before me always said, I don't know what to do with my life. You know, I don't know what to do. My dad says, talk to your other brother, talk to your sister. They can point me in the right direction. And I was like, what about me? What about you? You read and learn at a 5th grade level. You're on the spectrum of being retarded. You're not qualified. And I'm not, among other things. And I said, you know what? Fine. If that's what you think of me, I'm going to show you with a disability. Look at what I'm able to accomplish. And for 7.5 years, this is what I've been doing. Of course, you should have been 1,663. The reason I say that is originally I got up to 300 episodes. And reason for the permission form, I got up to 300. My grandfather said, if I give you my word is my bond. So I took people at their word. Little by little, people would say, yeah, my agent said, my publicist said, you ask a lot of stupid questions. We don't want to be seen as people like you. Or this one's my favorite. We're getting death threats from being on your show. Death threats, no one knows who the hell you are. And I'm like, fine. I took it all down, wrote up a permission form, and I did another 300. And I continued on that. There were a couple episodes, yes, I got the permission form, but it's a learning process. And thanks to you, it's 764. I interviewed actors, actresses, models, CEOs, people with disabilities, people without disabilities. What I want is, I'm a big wrestling fan. I would love, for me, this is my way of saying, I didn't go to college, but look at my resume. I'm building a resume. So solid foundation. So for me, it just feels like it's a solid foundation. It can open a door for me. Either I can work in professional wrestling, or I can work in entertainment. Whatever it is, I could, Netflix, Hulu, any networks, that's great. For me, it's just building a solid foundation, showing you what I'm capable of doing. And I would like to become famous. I'm not saying I want to be an A-lister, even though that would be nice. But I'm just saying I want to make myself into an example to show you that I accomplished something when people said you couldn't.
I love that. And good for you. And what you said in regards to having this as like your resume, that's the whole reason why I started my podcast. One of my things for being an actor is when people ask me, do you like theater or on-screen acting better? I always say that I like on-screen acting because I can sit there and I can tell you that I played Cinderella in Cinderella, but you're going to have up to interpretation in your own mind how I was. You're either going to think, oh my gosh, this girl looked great in a blonde wig and she can sing like a dove. Or you're going to think to yourself, what is going on? Like it's up to your interpretation when you act on screen and it's recorded and you have it for forever. So.
No, absolutely. I would love that. Now, wrapping up our show, I do have a couple questions for you off the air. It was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest. I'm looking forward to part 2 down the road.